What up? What up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. You see the title, you see it. I know this could be a controversial. This could be a controversial show today, honestly, guys. So shout out to all you guys. Welcome. Happy Thursday to everyone here. God bless all you guys that joined the live stream. I appreciate everybody. Today's a subscriber only chat. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Today's subscriber only. Gosh, man, there's so much going on in the background that y'all don't know that's going on with this. Not only my channel, but of course, you see me on the other channel, the NFC South Roundtable. We are just growing here. This community is just growing. The Ropp community is just absolutely growing, and it's insane. And I am blessed to have you guys here. So shout out to all you guys, man, who just continue to show your support. All you do, and if you don't subscribe, fine. If you smash that like button, great. That's all I need. If you don't subscribe, okay. But if you're tuning in, that's that's fine by me. Feel free to leave a comment as we go throughout today. A buddy of mine, y'all know him. What's up, Doug? Is going to join the show today. So we're gonna have him come on here shortly as I get through some stuff. I'm going to put anybody else is more than welcome to join if you want. We'll see. If I'm feeling froggy, we'll let it leap. You know what I mean? So shout out to Doug, who's in the chat already. Y'all know him. You love him. The man, the myth, the legend himself. So first things first, before we get into today's live stream, of course, I've got to get a shout out to our sponsors at betus.com. Sign up for free today. You get 125% bonus on your first bet. Actually, your first 3 bets. So you bet $100, they're going to give you 125. So the next time you bet $100, they're going to give you another 125. And then if you bet another $100, they're going to give you another 125. So basically, you have a chance in your first 3 bets to get a lot of free money. Okay. And that's something I want to go over with you guys today, because I have to give a huge shout out to our sponsors of this channel, right? And I'm going to show y'all. How this works. Give me a second here. Here it is. Okay, cool. All right. I don't even know if I have any money in here. Hold on, guys. I'm going to show y'all how BetUS works here. I got to put my password in. Y'all can't see that. Maybe it's this. All right. Oh, wow. I don't have any money in here. But that's fine. We're going to have to put some money in here today. All right. So BetUS, man, sign up for free today. You get 125% bonus on your first bet. All right. Everybody can see it. It's right here. T. Thompson, we're going to get into that today. I guess I should have been more specific on that poll question. So if we go into here, we go into week 1. All right, display selected. Let's go right here. Week 1, and we got the Panthers against the Saints. Week 1 right here. You can go in here, bet it, put it in, do what you need to do, right? There's also prop bets. You can go up here. You could go into prop bets. Let's see. You could do NFL futures. You could do draft, player stats, all that good stuff. So BetUS. I mean, shout out to BetUS. So you can obviously, Clay, can you show how to place a bet that the Panthers will have more than 5 or 6 wins? I did make a bet under your referral code for the NFC South division, but not sure how to do that one. Yeah, hold on 1 second. I will show you real quick. So if we're talking about wins, all right. So this is the AFC. This is here's the divisions. You got the NFC South right here. Now, if we're talking about what you're talking about, I gotta go back to it real quick. Give me a second here. I think it's where is it at? I think it's this right here. Alternate season wins. NFL alternate season wins. I think this is it. Yes, this is it right here. So alternate season wins. You could go to Carolina Panthers right here. Over or under 3.5 wins. All right. Under right here. Minus 500 for the over, plus 3.5, 350 for the under. All right. So that's for the 2024-2025 season, which this is what it would be. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyways, that's Bet US. Other than that, let's give a quick shout out to Roundtable Sports.
Roundtable Sports Network brings you NFL divisional debate coverage on a weekly basis from your favorite content creators across YouTube, featuring the AFC East Roundtable live Monday and Wednesday evenings, the AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. The NFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST. The AFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST. The NFC East Roundtable live Thursdays at 6 p.m. EST. Roundtable Sports. Real coverage from real fans.
You know him, you love him, you hate him. I don't know. You know, Dougie Fresh in the building. What's going on, man? You're muted right now, brother. You're muted.
What's going on, brother? How you feeling this morning, man?
Good, good. It's a beautiful Thursday here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and it's so nice outside. Honestly, I wish I could do the live stream outside, but
shoot, nah, not here. You know, I'm in the death state, man. When I say people saying, "Oh, we got 60 to 70 degrees," I'm like, shoot, Texas, we still in like triple digit heat right now. So
yeah,
hey, like I said, I think we got maybe like 2 or 3 more weeks, and then they'll start cooling down. So we're good over here.
I feel that. Nothing wrong with that, though. Nothing wring with that.
Oh, no, we're here. So, like I said, I won't complain too much.
Right. And also, guys, give a shout out to Dougie Fresh because he is a member now of the Roundtable Sports. We got him in there. So
yes,
you will get to see some of him on there as well. He's on part of the Roundtable Sports. So clap it up for him. Oh, that's a laughter. Oh, no, I messed up.
Hey, I appreciate that, Clay. Yeah, me and Clay been definitely been talking behind the scenes. Like I said, we kind of definitely have told you guys about the Panther roundtable. So we definitely been working on some things, making new relationships, trying to bring you guys new content ideas going throughout the year. So I definitely appreciate Clay reaching out to me. And like I said, I mean, we definitely been doing some work behind the scenes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're working on it. So give a shout out to everyone in the chat to Doug for getting on the Roundtable Sports. And on Roundtable Sports, just like Doug mentioned, we do have a show coming up. I'm working on it on the background with the managers of Roundtable Sports. I'm talking to them to get other content creators. We are going to do a weekly show it's going to be just the Panthers Roundtable, and it will be on the NFC South Roundtable channel. So be aware of that. It's coming out here soon. I'm working on some stuff in the background. I've been talking to Doug. We have picked our candidates for that show. They don't even know who they are yet. So they're probably going to be just as surprised once we reach out to them. So we've got a lot of big things coming, a lot of big news coming, and it's great. And merch is on the way for the Ropp Star Report, by the way. It's coming. It's just taking some time. So.
All right, you need to let me know so I can go ahead and grab some. So whenever we come on the show, I can be rocking it, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some. Right now, it's just gonna be I'm gonna get some polos, t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, and a hat, mainly of just Ropp Star Report. But then I'm gonna get some streetwear. I'm kind of trying to create my own design of like players and making shirts for players and putting it in my own street style design right now. So it's just a long process. It is what it is.
Bet.
So, but it's going to be sick once it's done. So, all right, let's get right into it. Y'all came here to talk about Carolina Panthers and not me and Doug talk about bullshit. So, let's get right into it. All right. So first thing, I want to talk about some positives. All right. As you can see here, the first caption is his biggest positives that you would obviously take away from the Panthers training camp. And Doug, you can start us off. Give me your biggest positives, basically that you took away from, I mean, training camp's basically over at this point, right? So it's like, we're going into our week 3 of our last, preseason game. So, what are your biggest positives? And I'll give you mine, but you start us off.
Again, like I say, I'm not gonna get too hyped, but at the same time, hearing the reports of how well our defensive line looks, some of our rookies have been showcasing their talents. That's one thing that you want. You don't want your rookies that you're trading up for, or your rookies that you're expecting impact from first to third round. Other than Crumity, every rookie has showcased, from Barrett to Wallace, to Sanders, to Xavier Legette whenever he's been able to stay healthy. And Brooks. Brooks is not playing right now, but we know what Jonathan Brooks can bring to the table. That's another takeaway that I will say. You've been able to see the talents of these rookies showcase what they can do in the league, which is a good thing. Like I said, I know we're going to talk about it throughout the show, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But when you look at the connection of the weapons, Bryce Young having a connection with Deontay Johnson, shorthanded Adam Thielen out there, David Moore looking pretty good as well. Just like I said, it depends on what type of fan you ask. But me personally, like I said, I'm not going to get too high or too low. Like I said, I call it deadline. Like, I'm literally beeping. Like, I need, some pushes on the chest to, bring me back to life. So, it's okay. I'm not too upset with it, but I have to see more. And I know, like I said, again, I know we're going to get into it. So that's how I'm feeling so far.
Yeah, I think the biggest, and I'll just give you mine. The biggest positives I could take away from training camp so far, at least from the buzz and everything that's been around this team so far, really, first one that just comes to mind is JC Horn. Him locking it down. He's out there, I think, reminding everyone why he was drafted, first round pick, and it's starting to show. We know, and we'll talk more about those concerns in the cornerback room, obviously, because that's one of my biggest concerns, but there's other concerns that I want to discuss today. But he has been a rock. He's absolutely been a beast in camp, shutting it down. Anyone lucky enough to line up against him, he's just been an absolute beast against these wide receivers. Again, the biggest question mark with him, of course, is his health, right? That's the biggest question mark. Can he get over that hump of being injured, of being this injury prone guy, right? Can he avoid the injury bug and get that Pro Bowl nod that I think he can get? Because I think his name can be in that top 5 category with any other corner in the NFL if he's healthy. When you talk about guys like Patrick Surtain and Sauce Gardner and those guys in that, for instance. So him, wide receivers, I think have been stepping it up. I like those guys a lot. Tony, what up?
Man, what's good? What it is, what it ain't, fellas. How y'all doing?
Hey, appreciate you joining the live stream, man. I'm glad to see you come in. We're just talking about some stuff, some positives from the training camp. I got a bunch of topics today, so feel free to chime in anytime, throughout the show. So I appreciate you joining, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. What's up, little big cuz?
Chilling, man. Chilling, man. One more day till Friday. So again, like I said, the week is already gone. Like I said, we got a lot of topics we got to get into, talking preseason, training camp, and then the game Saturday. So like I said, ready to just really jump into it.
Yep. That's what we're gonna do.
Y'all fellas handle y'all business. I'll be right here in the background.
Well, hey, Johnny, you're feel free to, if you want to come in and talk, you're more than welcome to hop in here and stay.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, no worries. So, anyways, we're just talking. As you can see, the topic's big positive. So, I just talked about JC Horn. Right now, another positive I took away, and honestly, was the wide receiver stepping up. Even though when Deontay Johnson came off, we were still seeing guys step up like David Moore, Terrace Marshall. Of course, Xavier Legette showed some flashes as well during this training camp. But when the biggest thing for me was when Deontay Johnson went down, and of course Legette wasn't on the field, and you saw Mingo, you saw Marshall, you saw Jalen Cooker, you saw these guys, and David Moore as well, step up. And I'm also forgetting about Amir Smith-Marset. I mean, he was also stepping up too. They were making plays. These guys were making plays. So that's the big thing for me, right? Another thing, safety net. I call it a safety net. You think about it this way from that safety position, guys. We let go of Jeremy Chin and Von Bell, right? Your secondary, and our secondary might be a weak spot, which I think it is. It is still in certain areas, but when you got Xavier Woods, you got a guy like Jordan Fuller. Those guys are obviously penciled in as the starters, but then you got Nick Scott, who will likely rotate in, and also I could see Nick Scott and Xavier Woods probably be like sub linebackers as well in this rotation in Evero's defense. I could see that being something he does. But then you got guys under the radar like Jamie Robinson, Damani Richardson. Both of those guys are turning heads. You got Richardson making interceptions in the Jets practice. He makes it. He also makes one in the game. You got Alex Cook, who's familiar with this defense, Evero system, who's also impressed. And another thing is TJ Smith. Let's talk about him real quick. That's a guy who surprised me, coming out of nowhere, really. Him just having his breakout moment, because we got these guys like Shy Tuttle, Derek Brown, O'Shawn Robinson, who have wreaked havoc. But the depth behind them, really, it's kind of slim pickings. But you get a guy like TJ Smith come in here, who spent his early years a bit with the Vikings, and now he looks like he could be a serious contender for a backup role on that D line. Another positive I had to say is Bryce Young's growth, but I don't want to dive too far deep into that because obviously you can see the thumbnail and of course the title. So I'm going to leave it at that. But another big surprise to me was, and I felt like it was good, is like Jordan Matthews kind of took over that tight end position once these guys went down, right? Like Ian Thomas, Tommy Trimble was sidelined, and then this guy just comes up, takes full advantage of the opportunity. And it's a guy that's transitioning from the wide receiver position over to the tight end. And his pass catching ability is, I think, better, and may I say better than Ian Thomas. And I think that he's made an already impression, and still surprised to me that Thomas, again, is still on this team. But those were my positives I took away. Go ahead.
Clay, I was going to say this on the safeties part. One thing that we did think is that our back four was a problem, but you see how deep the safety position is. One thing that helps corner is when you have that safety over top. We are weak at corner right now, but the good thing about it is you have you have safety depth that can actually come in and step up. Yeah. One thing I will say, I did like the point about Jordan Matthews, but the issue that I have with that is certain areas have depth pieces that we brought in, but Dan Morgan did miss on certain depth pieces, like on the offensive line that I would bring up, right. Possibly corner. But I mean, it's a good thing to happen because what you have the number one waiver pick for when Tuesday drops with the rosters being finalized. That's a good thing of having that you have first pickings for. Let's just say you see the first 10 names. You like the first 10 names. You can sign all 10. You don't have to worry about, I have to pick this person, then it goes around. Like there's the first 10 names that you like. You can go ahead and sign them, but you're going to have to cut somebody off your roster. Right. That is one thing that I think people have to understand as well, too. I said it with CJ and Tony on Two Fans. You can bring in players in, but if they're not the right scheme fit, it's not going to work.
Right.
That's one thing Carolina, people think of like Jeremy Chin, Von Bell, Those are players that were here, but they were in the right pieces for this scheme. They're a household name in the league, but they don't fit Everell's scheme. There's going to be some big time players' names that's going to drop, and people are going to be like, oh, we should sign X, Y, and Z. No, we should not, because if they don't fit your scheme, it's not going to work. Right. So I just want to bring that point up when you did bring up the depth. I do like that point about Jordan Matthews, because I didn't think he will really get playing time with the tight ends that we've had in the room. But also, just put a nugget out there. I know we're probably going to it because today's practice, but Tommy Tremble is on a pitch count, and his hamstring tightened back up again today at practice.
Jesus.
So
these hamstrings, dude, it's like every injury we've had in this training camp is hamstring. It's like, what is it? I think, is their practice field artificial?
No, it's grass.
It's grass. Okay. So that's even more weird.
Yeah, the border is artificial, and then the playing field is grass. But what I think it is they don't stretch a lot. This is just me personally.
So they're not stretching before, you've been to training camp.
No, they do, but it's not like an extended period, if that makes sense. Right. Like, they're doing it, but it's not like what you think you need to do. Like, if you play sports, you get on one knee and then you alternate legs, then you twist your hips, then you do the crisscross applesauce sit down stretch.
So they're doing like calisthenics.
Correct. There you go. Okay. There you go.
Right. Okay. So I get all that, but if they're gonna do that, that's fine. But they need to be stretching after practice. I think that's the biggest thing. Most of them are probably going to the ice baths, whatever the case may be, right? But I just remember me in college. I played college tennis at Coastal Carolina my first 2 years before I tore my MCL. And every year before every practice, we would do calisthenics. But then what we would do after practice is then we would stretch, then we would hit the locker room, and then we would go into the ice baths training room, get stretched out, all that good stuff. But if they're not doing that there, that's a problem for me. And we might need to be thinking about, again, because I think that's been a big issue here, is injuries. It's been a big issue for a long time. Is it our training staff's fault? Is it the players' fault? Who are we looking at when it comes to these injuries? Who do we put that blame on?
I honestly think our training staff I think they finally fired our training staff this upcoming year, if I'm not mistaken. Only reason why I say that is because a couple of the trainers I've seen at different organizations and at different college programs. Never seen them with the Panthers, and I know for sure they weren't here because I've seen them on videos and other things at different colleges and different universities. The last 2 years prior to Dave Canales, our strength conditioning coaches have been terrible. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if it's a nutrition part. I don't know what it is, but injuries for Carolina have definitely been hamstrings, and it's been a lingering issue for the longest. You on mute, Clay.
Tony, give me your thoughts on your top positions or top players that you liked at training camp. And then give me your thoughts on the injury bug. And of course, who do you put the blame on?
Oh, okay. So to answer your first question, the biggest positive for training camp, I like the overall depth. I like the depth of the safeties. I like the depth of the wide receivers. And quiet as kept, I'm starting to now like the depth at tight end position. When you talk about Tommy Tremble, he did grab the back of his hamstring during practice today, but Jatavion Sanders is balling out. Jordan Matthews is showing his worth, and then you talk about the two tight ends that came over from Seattle that Dave Canales had in Seattle, and that's very familiar with the scheme, and that's Hollister and Halstead. Can't remember their first names, but those two guys. So you got 4 to 5 potential good tight ends. I'm not even going to mention Ian Thomas because I think with the depth that we have now at tight end position, I think you can arguably see, or I can arguably say that I think Ian Thomas could potentially be on the cut list. Um, the biggest thing, another thing too, was I love the continuity with the defense. Not only bringing back the whole defensive staff, the coaches, and things like that, but they were very particular in bringing in players that has played in in Ivero's scheme. Alluding back to what Doug was saying, and he mentioned on our show the other night, scheme matters. And
Mhm,
that's something that we've been screaming, for years to,
mhm.
we just been talking about scheme matters, whether it's
Oh, for sure.
offensively and defensively. And this year, the guys that they have brought in fits that scheme, whether
Yeah.
it's Ashawn Robinson on the defensive line,
Mhm,
with the safeties with Nick Scott and Jordan Fuller.
mhm.
Okay, now you got Alex Cook, who's in that second rotation with Nick Scott right now. That looks like he's picking up the scheme. So then you talk about Troy Hill, the nickel cornerback, played in the scheme. So everything, I think with those things happening the way that it did this year on the defensive side of the ball, I think that's one of the main reasons why the defense has been such a positive bright spot in the
Yeah.
offseason and in training camp thus far this year, because you don't have a lot of pieces trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yep.
And yeah, Marcos, I forgot too. Don't forget about Josie Jewell,
Josie Jewell, yep.
type of linebacker that C. Dougie and I was talking about before the draft. We're talking about we need a downhill thumper. A
Right.
lot of people was high on Peyton Wilson, and we
Yep.
were all about Edgerrin Cooper
Yep.
for the simple fact
See, that's the
he has
same.
come.
I'm the same way,
Yeah,
Tony. I was all
for
Edgerrin
for
Cooper all day.
yeah. So and quiet as kept. Trevin Wallace kind of reminds me
I was
of
just about
Edgerrin
to
Cooper.
say
Now
that if you didn't,
Talk about it,
he
Tony.
might not have he might not have that same thump, but he coming downhill with some thump behind him. Yeah. So
Well, Tony, say this real quick because they both have thumper mentalities.
right.
The one thing
yeah,
that Dan Morgan said is Trevin Wallace is just a raw linebacker with talent and traits
Mhm.
that need to
Yep.
be polished. I
Yep.
think Edgerrin
right.
Cooper, if you compare the two, he's a day one ready once they hit training
Yeah.
camp. One thing
Mhm.
we had to see with Trevin Wallace is we had to see it transition or translate week to week. Yes,
Mhm.
he can play,
Right.
but when you look at it from the point that he joined the Panthers till now you see those traits of Edgerrin Cooper in stride
Yeah.
and in him. But again,
Yeah.
Edgerrin Cooper was a dog, which me and you both said we wanted.
Yeah, I think, and
Right.
you're both right. I'm glad you brought the Trevor Wallace thing up because another thing that he reminds me of a Frankie Luvu, the way he plays, like because looks like a guy that could be a sideline to sideline kind of player, but he also looks great in coverage, and we saw that in the joint practice. We saw that in, of course, the last game against the Jets. I mean, he's out there making plays,
Mhm.
he's making tackles. He's going down, like you said, he's a downhill runner, and he's going to hit the shit out of you and let you know that he's on the field. So that's something
Yeah.
I love about him. And another thing that he quoted saying, and he came out and said this: I've been watching Thomas Davis film. I've been watching Luke Kuechly film. I've been understanding how these guys play. And that's huge to hear a guy say that he's taking the extra effort to go out of his way to go and watch not only game film on other teams and of course whatever else he's studying and of course the playbook, but also he's taking his time to look at other Panthers legends and how they were so good back in the day. So
But you know what? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead, Tony.
No, I was gonna say what's so important with that as well is not only watching the film, but being a sponge when these guys are around. Like
Mhm.
Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, those guys are always at practice. So you not only have the film of them to watch, you have access to them. where you can ask questions. You know what I'm saying? When you can go over techniques, when they can show you firsthand um things that you need to be, looking out for. What does this alignment mean when the offense is in a 12 personnel or 11 personnel, or when the tight end is off the line or detached from the line, like little nuggets, based
Mm-hmm.
on the scheme that the offense is running. Like that, like I said, there's one thing in watching film and getting knowledge, but when you can get that firsthand knowledge
Mm-hmm.
from said player that you watch your film on, I
Yeah.
think that is even more valuable, in my opinion.
Yeah. Shout out to these guys for joining the live stream. What's up, Doug? And of course, from Two Fans in the Stands, we got Tony in here. So make sure y'all go subscribe to their channels. All right. Let's continue, fellas. Let's continue. That's a good segue on to the next one. Panthers undrafted free agents who might just make that cut. Who might make that cut? Tony, let's start with you first.
Well, I'm biased on one, but the obvious choice, let's start there first. I think Jalen Coker will make the cut. So I'm not even gonna get into my biases because that wasn't the question. So yeah, Jalen Coker. I'm gonna stick with Jalen Coker, and I'm gonna just throw in there a bonus. Someone that has come on in the past week and a half, Damani Richardson.
You can't take that when he said one. See, look at you. Look at him. You know how you try to get that
Look,
bonus work in.
hey Clay,
Look,
hey Clay. He's saying that because he must be gonna say Damani Richardson.
Yeah.
that was gonna be my one. That was gonna be my one. I'm like,
You
okay.
can
So,
give me more than one. You can give me more than one.
look, when he said it, I was like, good. I'm like, he went Jalen Coker because that's the competition he has right now. But now, go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
No, that was it. That
Okay.
Jalen Coker is my number one undrafted free agent that I really feel like just might make the cut.
Mhm.
I gave you my bonus. My bias, who I really want to see, I want to see Sam Pinckney make the cut. At least on get to the practice squad. At least that.
So I would say this, and I'm gonna go with the bias one. I'm kind of upset that Sam Pittney got cut because when you look at Sam Pittney, you look at Willie Drew, and you look at Sheridan, all getting cut before our first
Right.
preseason
Preseason
game.
game.
I'm like, why bring them back week 3? Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
They've already missed. Literally, I'm gonna be honest. They missed 3 weeks of training camp, and so
Yeah.
it's almost like a tryout. That's exactly what I really feel like this is. And again, I know I'm not gonna go into the take that I want to go into talking about why I don't like it because I know news broke today, and I know Clay's gonna talk about it, but I understand the Sam Pittney. I definitely was rooting for him. Richardson is definitely a shoe in. When I say a shoe in, like he has a whole, I don't know what size foot he has, but he got the whole foot in. One of them foots is already in the door.
Hey, chance up, baby.
Yeah. he already got the shoe in. So Richardson, I definitely think is in. I think we all wanted Jalen Coker to make the roster, but it's going to be hard with ISM and David Moore fighting for that last active roster spot in the wide receiver room. But one person I'm gonna say is who you said, Clay, a defensive lineman,
TJ Smith.
Yes, sir. That would be another one that I think nobody
I
thought.
like that.
Whenever you had Cromedy get drafted, I like the tangibles of Cromedy, and anytime anybody gets hurt, you do hate it. But you could tell the frustration whenever he did get hurt. He knew, like, God dang it, like I can't lose any reps.
Yep.
And now it shows the reason why, because he had a player that was on nobody's radar on his heels. And when he got the opportunity, TJ Smith has shown out. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like all your picks. I kind of was like alluding to those. I was kind of thinking about this when I was bringing this topic up today. I think Damani Richardson was one of mine. Jalen Coker was definitely one of mine. But I think another one that I kind of think is a sleeper, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on, and he had a decent PFF grade after the last game, and that's Andrew Rhyme, the center. He looked solid. I mean, he's it's in the NFL sometimes, and you guys know this, it's always about sometimes being at the right place at the right time, right? And in the case
That's
for
true.
this kid, he might just found himself that 53-man roster spot thanks to a numbers game, really, right? Because we've been hit with some injuries on the offensive line that could open the door for Rame. And when you got Cade Mays, who's currently sidelined, but he needs to go back to University of Tennessee and get his master's and then get on LinkedIn and just put his resume on there. And then you got the absence of Badara, you got Nietzschman, Christensen, who might end up being needed to be more of a swing tackle. That kind of leaves us a little thin at center. So I see him as a valuable insurance policy. It's been a quiet camp for him, though, but the fact that he's still here means that the coaches see something in him, right? So I like Andrew. Another one that I would also say is I like Jack Anderson. I like Jack Anderson. I like what I saw. He had the highest one of the highest PFF grades in the last game, and I like that. The more depth you can have on that offensive line, to me, the better. So
I mean, that waiver wire, Clay, that's what I said. When you look at it, you have first dibs on waiver wire. Who would have thought you get a man off the street, and I'm going to call it what it is. I said it. You literally get the man off the street, and 24 hours, you suit up in a uniform. Hey, you literally keep your tangibles. We got to coach you a little bit, but we're throwing you out to the wolves, and you get the highest PFF grade for the whole team. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the highest PFF grade for the guards for week 2 or
well,
one
he was
of
the highest PFF grade on the offense. I think Michael Barrett that game had the highest overall out of the whole game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. So, but him for the offense, he had the highest grade. It was like an 86.1 or something crazy like that. So, and I have to give a shout out to both Mason Brooks and Tyler Smith, those guys that we brought in here too. Like, they came in a very short notice time and they actually showed some potential. They all did. So it's like there's something there with this offensive line that I think people are sleeping on just a little bit. And with some of these guys that we move now, again, the waiver wires, it's going to be crazy because there are some concerns and some holes, and we're going to get into that next. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Give a shout out to Tony and them. So shout out to them and Dougie coming in. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Major concerns from the Panthers training camp. All right, major concerns. What do you got? Let's start off with you, Dougie.
That $150 million.
Oh, okay.
I've said it. I'm not gonna go because I always joke with Tony. He is the guru of the trenches. I don't know if it's because the statue. I don't know if it's the passion. I don't know if Tony always wanted to play on the offensive line, but he loves the trenches. And when Robert Hunt went down, I'm talking, I was mad. I was mad.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we can't have this because if you take Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis away, this offensive line is the same offensive line that we had last year. That's one thing that I did say I kind of scrutinized Dan Morgan with, because was $150 million needed for this offensive line? Yes and no, but we needed more depth across the line than just two guard positions. Damian Lewis did not practice. I've been hearing reports. I wish I could have had a drone or something out that I need to actually see him taking reps, because he dressed the 2 days I was out there. I know CJ was out there every day, and he was letting Tony and myself know, hey, when Damian Lewis went down, I will even owe him an apology because I was hard on him. I really do think he had a personal issue. And shout out to that reporter that was kind of getting personal with him that I didn't appreciate. I really do think Damian Lewis did have a personal issue. So I will reframe my statement that I thought that he was hurt. And sometimes you do need to get back in football shape. But that offensive line is concerning right now because if it is if we do go down Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt, it's not going to be pretty. Mm-hmm. And one thing that Dan Morgan, Dave Canales said is we need to implement two nasty, proficient guards that can help Bryce Young step up in the pocket. If those two gentlemen go down, that's I know people want to say corner. I believe in the corners. I believe in the back end of the defense, but right now that offensive line is my major concern.
Yeah, I'm a err on the side of positivity. I'm not even gonna think about if anybody go down or whatnot. But as far as what because I know this is a big thing with C. Duggan, the amount of money that was spent on the two guards. I think it was money well spent because when you look at what killed us, what hampered the offensive line, that pretty much that stopped and affected everything on the offense last year was those two guards positions and the backups and the ones that we were bringing off the streets trying to fill a hole. So if you have the ability to go out and strengthen your offensive line and you want to maximize the potential of a Bryce Young, you want to give him all the opportunity and the time in the world to maximize his talent, then you have to solidify the interior offensive line. You have to solidify that front. That's not even a question. And my biggest gripe with the Panthers this year, which has been my gripe all off season, pre-draft, the draft, and it will be throughout the season in the center is the center position because Carolina passed up opportunity after opportunity to draft a potential starter, whether it be this year or for the next 5 or 10 years. Because if Austin Corbett goes out and balls out and have a great year, cool. This is the last year of his contract. He does carry a $9 million salary. So if you got a rookie that came in and had to sit behind a year behind an Austin Corbett, you still have the next 4 years on a rookie deal with said center. Just give you an example. Zach Frazier has now been named the starting center week 1 for the Steelers. Graham Barton has now been named the starting center week 1 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Do the injuries.
We had
put the injuries in there. Don't say they were just named it. They've been starters because of
you're
injuries.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Exclamation point, whatever, asterisk, whatever. But the fact is, they're going to be starting. But if you saw them play in the preseason, they won every not gonna say accolade, but the position where they were drafted and where they were drafted in the draft, it warranted that. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that you thought those guys could be, they are being that. So that was my only hiccup with the offensive line is that we didn't tap into that center position. And I pray Austin Corbett plays just as good as he says that he can coming off the knee injuries. If it wasn't for the injuries, Clay, I wouldn't have no issues whatsoever. Nothing to talk about. But the fact that you never played it in the regular season in the NFL or college, and you coming off of 2 knee injuries, whether it's 2 years in a row, same calendar year, whatever, you still coming off those 2 injuries. That's a big deal. I don't care what nobody say.
Hey, Tony, Clay, before you go, let me say this, Tony. One thing that I agree with you because we all drafted centers, regardless if it was first round, second round, third round, whenever we did mock drafts. The one thing that I will say that I needed to see, Austin, well, I don't want to say it, but shoot, Austin Corbett didn't get hurt during joint practice. That's one thing everybody was looking forward to. And when I'm not saying looking forward to him getting hurt, but how would his knees hold up when somebody across from you doesn't have to respect you and they can go full force out, going against you? If you look at the highlights, Austin Corbett held his own in one-on-ones. No, the only person he did not go against was Quentin Williams. But other than that, he went against the whole defensive line, their twos, that New York Jets twos can be ones for certain people if they need the help. So I definitely agree with that. I agree with you on that point. But just like you said, whenever I talked about the guards, until proven otherwise, we have to just, stay strong and hope.
Oh yeah. Well, one thing for sure, two things for certain. I'm on his ass. You believe that?
I know that.
And,
Trust me. I know that. Me and you didn't have talks.
I'm not.
Honey, I've heard you say it multiple times, so we all know that.
Yeah, we know that.
So
that's not a hit.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping, praying that Austin Corbett proves me wrong. I want him to prove me wrong. Okay, I want him to. I want him to prove that everything that I'm feeling right now about the center position is completely wrong. That's what I hope. I hope he comes out and prove me wrong.
Yeah. My concerns is, and I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys. Honestly, mine is chemistry, all right, or the lack thereof. I think that's one of the biggest talking points around the Carolina Panthers has been this decision to bench these starters for the first two preseason games. Now, luckily, they have that. We're going to get into that here shortly about all that. But my biggest concern, though, was of that, because we went from a team last year that was 2-15. Your rookie quarterback had one of the worst years, and you don't throw him out there. You don't throw out there what this whole fan base needs to see, because that is a concern for these fan base. Is Bryce Young? Is he that guy? Right. And we're going to talk more about that anyways. But
Whoa. Did y'all didn't see just now what happened?
What?
The Panthers traded linebacker Michael Barrett to Seattle for corner Michael Jackson.
What?
Hold on.
Just posted it. David Newton and Joe Person.
Are you on Twitter?
Yeah, on Twix. Yeah. It just happened. Sheena Quick Autumn just posted it.
I'm about to Adam Scheffler got it too. Had traded rookie Michael Jackson. Okay.
Wow.
I was going to ask y'all when we was talking about the surprise positives about training camp. I was going to ask Clay, what do y'all think about Michael Barrett and his chances of making the team?
It was going to be hard.
I was going to ask that question.
It was going to really be hard because you really didn't hear anything about him until this last game.
Yep, it's all over. It's all over Twitter right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Michael Jackson. So let's pull up Michael Jackson real quick, and we'll get back into the concerns here real quick. But I want to look at Michael Jackson real quick. Let's take a look at him on PFF real quick. 2019. Damn. That ain't bad. That is not bad PFF grading right there. 77 overall, 71.5. I mean, pass rush, I don't really give two flying, what's about with a corner, but 76.9.
Look at the metrics, though. That's what I like. You see how big he is?
Yes. Yeah. Well, Canales and that likes those big corners.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. 6'1", 210. Michael Jackson.
So, Tony, I appreciate you bringing that, because now this goes into a point where you said major concern. You had the capital Buddha.
Is it still a concern for me? Like, because you know me, I mean, Doug, you know how I feel.
Yeah.
Is this still a concern for me, right? I don't know. Like, I haven't seen this guy yet. Like, I mean, he probably has some familiarity. I'm assuming. Where has he played, though? Because Seattle, but he was drafted by the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm on ESPN.
Did he play anywhere else? But damn, he had an 84 point. Wow, he only played like what, one game?
He played in New England too for 1 year. Just 1 year.
I still like the statistics here with that.
So last year, did you look at last year? He had, it looks like 34 total tackles, 6 assisted, 5 pass defense, and 0 interceptions.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. I mean,
Well, you
listen,
know what? Go ahead.
I mean, it makes sense though. Like I think like, and it's funny because like CJ, I was hyping up Michael Barrett, but like this makes more sense to me because of the fact that you got Dane Jackson out for 6 weeks,
Correct.
right? You know, I think our
Correct.
linebacker core is good enough to be where it's at. I can deal with it. Maybe they bring someone in with a waiver wire. Maybe they make another trade, something like this, and they bring somebody else in. It sounds like it's just a straight up trade though.
It
So
is. It's a trade for trade. But you want to know something though? People were already talking about it. Was it it was on Twitter. They were talking about Dotson went from the Commanders to the Eagles, and they said this won't be the first trade going on before the 27th. So don't be surprised if there are more trades throughout the league to bolster people's roster. I'm actually
sure.
on what you call it YouTube looking at his highlights right now. And
Let me tell you
Does
one
it look
one
like a
thing
dog?
that I love about this time of year right now, especially in the position that we in, is this is like the draft supplemental for the Panthers. They got first dibs, not first overall pick, just first dibs, meaning no matter who hits that waiver wire, whether it's one player or 10 players, Carolina got first dibs on each and every player through week 4 of the regular season.
Oh yeah.
That's how they're going to rebuild the depth on the back end of their roster. That's how they're going to how they're going to build up the practice squad. And you may find some hidden gems on the waiver wire that can come in and contribute and offer, bring some playing, give you some playing time at certain positions if that's what you're looking for.
Right.
But the opportunity to really bring in more depth, young kids that are hungry, that are trying to make teams, this is the perfect time of the year. And like you guys just alluded to, there's going to be more trades and
Mhm.
things happening
Yep.
between now and September 2nd.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
this is like the NFL draft for the
all
Panthers
back over.
all over again.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yeah.
Yep. I like the trade. I think it makes sense. You get a veteran guy. Guy's been in here. He's got decent coverage grades. I like that. That's the thing that I look forward to on PFF is your coverage grade. I could care less about your run defense, your pass rush. When it comes to the corner position, I want to see your coverage grade. And that tells me all I need to know. I wish I kind of know
Yeah.
his speed though, but that's
What,
really it.
what'd you say, Clay?
I'd like to know how fast he is. Normally they have.
I'm looking. He came from Miami. I was just
Yeah.
looking at. He came from the U.
Yeah.
Right. Tony was giving us that. I was looking at some of his stuff. So let me go to Nathan.
Hold on. I'll tell you, I look at on NFL.
Is there a highlight tape I can get of this guy?
Yeah, but I don't want you to get copyright. That's the reason why I'm looking behind the scenes.
Fuck him.
If you want to type his name in Seattle Seahawks, they have highlights from his 2022 season.
Okay. We shouldn't do it. I'm gonna get busted.
I don't want you to. That's what I was saying.
We gonna get busted.
His 40 time at the combine back in 2019, he ran a 4.45.
Okay. All right. So that ain't bad at
He
all.
got a 40.5-inch vertical.
He does have a killer vertical.
So he's athletic as fuck.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
if you look at his highlights from the U, like he's definitely athletic. He's definitely athletic.
what about
Just give y'all.
go ahead. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I just give you a quick player bio on him real quick.
Go ahead.
Said came to Miami from Birmingham, a 4-star recruit. Got stuck behind the Hurricanes' depth at cornerback. Played in 25 games as a reserve. Blah blah blah. Found his way into the starting lineup 10 times in 13 games as a junior. Yada yada yada. NFL comparison. I don't know where Lance Zierlein gets half his NFL comparisons because I never heard this guy. But overview, big, strong cornerback with dimensions to get excited about, but a lack of cover traits could get him beat unless he finds the right scheme fit. I want to comment on that right there because if you didn't know, the best way to hide a corner that maybe not don't have lockdown or press man coverage type skills or can take away a half of the field like a JC Horn. The best way to hide your corners is running a cover two. That's what Evero runs 85% of the time is cover two. So you get a big corner in there that can press, possibly get, hands on a wide receiver off the line of scrimmage, that's physical, that likes to tackle. That's probably one of the main things, being able to how sure of a tackler he is. But he don't have to be the greatest corner to play in a cover two scheme.
Okay.
But see, that's that scheme, Tony. We talked about the scheme. That's what I said.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you basically said it. You can disguise a DB's deficiencies in a zone scheme. And what does Evero run? A zone scheme.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing that I allude to, when we have a healthy, I tap it every day now, a healthy JC Horn, because I got his autograph signed on the wall. When you have a healthy JC Horn can cover two players in one. We saw it against the Seattle Seahawks when he was able to lock down that side with Lockett and with DK Metcalf. I like it. I just have to see it translate. And I know that's where Clay was going into, seeing these players play with each other and the camaraderie with each other.
Right. Yeah. I need to see it. Like, that's the thing. And that's part of my concern. It's like when I was talking about chemistry, I mean, this, like I said, like, I need to see the offense and the defense. Like, yeah, we saw it in the joint practice at the Jets. That was promising, right? But there's no substitute for actual game reps, right? And that's why when we talk about, we're going to get into that final, preseason game, and obviously talking about the starters and all that. I need to see that. I need to see the offensive line depth. Like, that's another concern. Like, I need to see this offensive line in full. Like, I want to see, because they took that priority to beef up this offensive line, right? To make sure Bryce isn't getting pummeled back there. I want to see what this starting five looks like, right? Because if anything, if anyone goes down, things are going to get dicey fast, right? And then, like, because we already are seeing the injury bug, right? We're already seeing that. That was another concern for me. And then I was going to talk about the cornerback conundrum, but now that's kind of changed for me a little bit. I feel a little bit better, but again, I need to see it transition to the field. But since we're done with all since I'm not going to talk about the cornerback position, I'd say let's say the next big thing they do is they go out and get an edge rusher. Yannick Ngakoue is still out there, right? I think that you should bring in another edge rusher, in my opinion. Like, I think that even though we made this trade right here, I think Yannick Ngakoue hasn't signed anywhere. I'm pretty sure his value is only like 4.1 million, if that. So, like, a guy that's averaged 8 sacks per year throughout his career, I think we bring him in. Now, again, that could change, right?
Can we afford him, though?
I think we can afford a $4.1 million contract. But
is he gonna come in and play for that? But
that's true.
We may have $4 million to get him, but do he think he worth more than $4 million? And just watching the past two contract negotiations Yannick had when he was in Indianapolis and when he was in Baltimore, he was definitely looking for more than $4 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, but now when I looked at him, I think I looked him up on Spot Track. Now, I could be wrong. I thought I saw it was like 4.1 on Spot Track, but it could be more than that. But for some reason, 4.1 sticks into my head. But again, like, I still think we need a boost there, right? I think even though Jadeveon Clowney's going to be he's been the leader in camp, but DJ Wanham is still recovering from a quad, right? You got Iku Leota and DJ Johnson who have shown flashes, but the depth to me there is questionable. Now, again, Evero is probably, if not the best, one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL, because I've seen this guy take shit and turn it to gold. So, and he's known for getting the most out of his players. But I think he's going to need something more than Jadeveon Clowney to get that consistent pressure that you want against opposing teams. But go ahead.
Clay, I got 2 points. Shout out to Panthers Twitter, man. I'm going to shout both of these content creators. I shout out to Keep Her and Ben. He just posted the actual stat for his PFF grade. Out of 229 corners, he was 26 last year.
Wow.
Then one thing I did not know, shout out to Panthers on Tap. The Seahawks head coach was the DC in Michigan. It makes sense for him to go get Barrett, which he coached up before he left Michigan to go to Baltimore. So that was his captain.
Right there. Michael Barrett was his defensive captain at Michigan.
His sophomore year? Could that be his sophomore year?
Yeah. Michael Barrett has been he's like a 2 or 3 year starter.
Okay. Well, no, I didn't know how the captains go. I know the captain. He was a captain last year. I didn't know if he was a captain when the DC was actually there. But that's the point.
Okay, yeah.
No, but you're right.
You're right.
He was a captain when he was at Michigan underneath Jim Harbaugh. Yeah. But we know the DC left for 2 years. But it's a connection point right there. You get a player
connection, and he knows the scheme.
Exactly.
And he knows the scheme.
I like it. It makes sense. I mean, I think that they're definitely, Dan Morgan and them are obviously, they're going after guys. And I think that's the thing they've done all off seasons. They've gone after guys that fit the scheme, right? Like, it's like, that's what they've done. Like, it makes sense. So now that you just mentioned that, because I would have never known that if someone wouldn't have posted that, right? However, they found that encyclopedia of information, but good for them. But it's crazy to me that they're making these moves. It's not crazy, but it's just like exciting, right? Like, it's just like you this is what you want to see from a front office, because I felt like we weren't seeing this from the last front office. I can tell you that.
We were on every trade, right? Okay. Okay. I can't stand that man. Like, I know CJ has banned me from saying Marty Herney on their channel. I would probably ban somebody unless I say Scott Fitterer. I can't stand Scott Fitterer. Like, I say our fan base, and I don't think a lot of us content creators as well. I'm gonna throw us out there. We don't blame this man enough. Yes, I understand he had to work with 3 different coaches. Absolutely, that's not his fault. That is all on David Temper. But when it comes to the draft, what else do you need to do? You have one job. You build this roster, and then you draft correctly, and then you get on trades that make sense. This man has put this roster behind where Dan Morgan had to make, I don't cuss on my channel, so I'm not going to cuss, but basically made toilet water.
You can cuss on here. I've already said every other cuss word on the world, so you might as well go ahead.
Basically made toilet water into drinking water. That's the best way I can say it.
Okay.
Because this roster was so horrendous where you look at the draft picks that he's had. How many people are still on this roster that he's drafted? Only 2 that no, because did he draft Ian Thomas?
No.
Okay. So I think 2. No. I think 2, I would go with ceiling of 4. And you've been here 3 years. You tell me only have 2 to 4 players still from your draft class? That's absolutely.
Was that TMJ and JC Horn?
I mean, got he drafted Icky. I'm not even gonna count Icky. I forgot Icky, so that's 3. So he
drafted Icky. He drafted TMJ. And he drafted JC Horn.
You got DB and
matter of fact, JC Horn, TMJ, same draft. 1 first round, 1 second.
Yeah, you got DB. He drafted DB too.
Yeah.
So that's 4. I said I know 2, but that's the ceiling is 4. But out of 3 years,
so you want to apologize?
Apologize to who?
The Scott Fitterer, man. I'm just saying.
I'm not apologizing to that damn man. See, you about to piss me off. I'm not apologizing to that man. I don't owe that man nothing. Again, he's another Marty Herney. Love Marty Herney for first round draft picks. But outside of that, what did he do for us? He put us in cap hell with all the contracts that he did, signed old players that should have just been pushed to the side. Thank you for dressing. Thank you for the best years that you gave Carolina. It's time for you to pack your bags.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, shoot, man.
Yeah.
Boy, I got to drink water because, boy, I can't stand Scott Fitter, man. I'm being serious. Like, and that's one thing I hated when people were saying Dan Morgan was Scott Fitter 2.0. What this man was able to do with no money at all, and able to do what he did with this roster, he's light years ahead of what Scott Fitter did in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, some people on YouTube would disagree with you, though, Doug. Some people,
Clay, you almost made me drop an F-bomb. I don't know. Shit, boy, y'all better leave me alone with that, man. I have now. You talking about a foul? I can make a foul for you on Scott Fitter where he was a yes man. That's the best way I'm gonna say. He was a yes man.
I feel that. No, for sure. Like, I mean,
I disagree, Doug.
He want to argue with me. That's the reason why. That's the reason
he's
why.
Just trying to get you fired up. Is what's going on.
Tony want to argue with me, and I'm not giving it to him because that man there, man. That man gets my pressure blown up, man.
I can see that. All right, let's move on. But hey, Michael Jackson, Carolina Panther, welcome to Charlotte. Let's get right into the next topic, and then we're going to get into the final topic. Sounds like the Panthers starters will play versus the Bills. Sounds like they're going to get some burn there. Doug, you came in ready to go on this topic, so let me let you start it off.
Nah, Clay and I were we talked behind the scenes about it, and I was like, everybody has been talking about it. Should Carolina Panthers starters start? Me personally, I said no because we were not healthy. Now, what Dave Canales, who has been blunt and honest with the media and the fan base, we're healthy. I do not oppose to playing them, but people have to understand he wanted to put a product out there that had starters that you didn't supplement or substitute players that are not going to start, and it's going to look like trash. Again, when Robert Hunt went down, CJ was right beside me. Our offense looked totally different. And I don't know if that's alluding to us putting a lot of pressure on Robert Hunt or Robert Hunt just being that good of an offensive lineman. And when he's in there, he moves ish. So do I agree with the starters playing to shut Panther Nation up? Yes, absolutely. I'm tired of the whining. I'm tired of we haven't seen Bryce. You had an opportunity to go see Bryce. Like I said, I literally flew. If I had to drive, it's 19 hours for me to drive from Texas to Charlotte. You had an opportunity to see them in training camp. I understand people have to work. We had 3 practices on Saturdays where you could have actually been able to go see that team. You could have put your eyes on Bryce Young. If you didn't like what you saw, then absolutely I would take your tape. But everybody wants to see him and these starters out because they were not able to see it in practice. Practice, yes, I understand the famous line that Allen Iverson said, we're talking about practice. But practice brings traits that you translate to the game. If you wanted to see what Bryce was able to do, you were able to see it in practice. No, he didn't have great days every single day. But when the money was on the line and you had another team come in your territory, he showed up when the Jets thought they were going to bully the bully, and they got bullied themselves. We brought the juice. Bryce brought the juice from the jump. Yes, I'm hoping that he's able to translate it to games. If he's not, then that is an issue that I'm going to blame on the coaches for execution. But do I want to see the starters? No, me personally, I don't, because I've seen it. But for the fan base, absolutely. So all the whining, complaining, you want to see Bryce, the pressure on Bryce can finally be put to end. That's all.
Tony, I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna let you chime in. Because here's the thing. There is a difference between practice speed with pads, and it's one thing. But when it's a game time, even in the preseason, that tempo cranks up a few notches, right? I think our coach knows that. He's talked about the different things and getting the players, switch from practice mode to full game mode, right? There's, that noticeable shift when it's a time to tackle, and then that adrenaline kicks in for those guys. But I think you can argue that playing the starters against Buffalo backups could build some momentum heading into the season, but it's tough for me to imagine that Canales is straying from this current approach because he's more focused on keeping his guys fresh, right? He's doing the long haul approach, right? That's what he's been doing. It's a mindset that that's becoming pretty common among modern coaches, right? We don't put much stock in the preseason games as much as we probably should have after last season, but certain players are just too valuable to risk, in my opinion, in a meaningless game. Like, can you imagine JC Horn out there and then having something go wrong, right? Like, it's the same thing for some other guys like who have had injuries, right? Shaq Thompson, but also like Jadeveon Clowney or O'Shawn Robinson or maybe Derek Brown, whatever the case may be, right? So give the offense a drive or two, I think is good just to build some of that chemistry because that is a concern for me again, because especially between Bryce Young and Austin Corbett, that's something that chemistry I need to see more of because that relationship has to be start from the get-go. So a few live reps, I think, would be beneficial. Now, the big picture here, and I'm going to be real with you guys, the expectations for us this season are all over the map. I don't think nobody thinks that they'll be as bad as last year, but there's also a few people willing to bet on a winning record. I think for me, my main goal to see in this year is just stability. I just want them to bring back some of that respectability to this franchise because we hit rock bottom last year. So if they can do that and he can show that the Panthers are heading in the right direction, then no one's going to care whether the starters played in the preseason game or not.
Yeah, I try to explain this in the simplest form for myself. You know, I was listening to someone talk the other day, and they mentioned the word continuity, and so I wanted to ask them what does continuity look like? Like define continuity, because when I think about continuity of along the offensive line, that means all five starters are playing in harmony and getting repetitions together, right? It's hard to have continuity when Damian Lewis has missed so much time, when um, Taylor Moton has gotten certain amount of vet days, you know. So you want to. Here's the thing: Bryce Young got sacked 62 times last year behind a horrendous offensive line, right? The main thing that people always wanted to talk about when it came to Bryce Young, even before he played a game last year, was his size and his height. Oh, he can't take a lick. They gonna kill him. They gonna knock his head off. This and that and this. All those things may have been true. So if you want to protect said franchise player and to get the best out of him, you want him to play with the best possible line in front of him, right? So before I run out there and want to throw my franchise quarterback out into the, into the dungeon, I want to make sure that he goes with all his weapons intact. I don't want to disarm him and send him out there into a gun battle with some damn butter knives.
There you go.
No, I want him to match the fight. So when he got all his ammunition, when he has everything that he needs, then I'll put him out there. I listen, I'm in no rush to see Bryce Young play if everything around him is not secure. At least the offensive line. I understand wide receivers are kind of banged up, tight ends are kind of banged up. Cool. They not really blocking for Bryce. What I do want to see is those five horsemen up front
Yep.
at their best, healthy, protecting Bryce Young. So
Yep.
this is what goes into what Doug, likes to talk about a lot about the money that was spent. Well, if you want to see your franchise quarterback being protected, then you want to see the money that was invested in his protection in front of him. That's my thing. So Put Damian Lewis out there when he's healthy, along with Robert Hunt, Austin Corbett, Ike Kwanu, Taylor Moton, and then let's see what we got. Okay, and until then, I'm cool. I'm cool.
Tony, I agree with you. I think that, like, see, that was the thing for me. Like, I just want to
PJ get
see
on
the
my
first
nerves.
team. Like, I think that's the thing for me. Like, I just want to see the first team reps. But like, if I'm not gonna, but I agree with you. I don't want Bryce going out there unless that starting five is there. I agree with you. Like, I just want to see this offense with Bryce Young because I want to see that chemistry build. That's it. Like, it has nothing to do with anything else because, again, we saw it in joint practice, sure. But again,
Right.
to me, I want to see it in a live game mode, right? And it's different. I think I think we all can agree the atmosphere is different. But again, but I see your boy CJ. I don't have that, but I do have
Hey, Clay, don't entertain that. He ain't even on the panel.
yeah.
You let
we need that organ.
let the chat stay in the chat, Clay.
Okay. I do got this. I do got this for him after he just went off. Drop the bomb, or we can also do this for him because Tony today's been
because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone.
Damn right. Damn right, Clay.
Hey, can I rebut because I know Tony gets on me about this. I'm not mad
Here he go.
at the 150. No, because this need because I think you not understanding what I mean by I say did we really have to spend 150? What I mean by that is could you went and got out a veteran center? Could you have went and got another swing tackle that can actually dress? Because Yash Nyman has not done anything. He's basically been out there making money just like you and me, Tony. Not dressing. I mean, he finally dressed today. But what I mean is, could we have spread the money out a little bit more on the offensive line? Because again, if Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt go down, you know who's coming in, right? The same offensive line that gave up 62 sacks. That's why I mean by we have you.
We got to also think about Jack Anderson, Mason Brooks, Tyler Smith. I mean, they look better than what we had with Cade Mays, Chandler Zavala, and all of that.
Yeah, the reason why we got that though, we got that because of waiver wire. I'm talking about whenever we spent the money, because I know I've been saying this in the very beginning. $150 million just for two positions, where the whole line was just a dumpster fire. Right. We possibly could have added more depth. Now you have a Cade Mays that's hurt. Then you have a Chandler Zavala that's hurt. Then, like Tony alluded to, was I upset about not drafting a center? No, because I said if Austin Corbett fails, that's the one blunder on Dan Morgan, because you had opportunity to draft three of the top centers that were there. Both times you traded back. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm saying the 150 I have no problem with, but could we have spread it across the line? Maybe so. That's the point that I'm saying.
I see what you're saying.
No, I'm at the rebuttal back on you. You do have a problem with that 150. It's well documented, brother.
Tony, it's not a problem. I'm telling you, like, again, when Robert Hunt went down, the offensive line went to shit. I'm gonna say it went to shit. Like, literally,
Damian Lewis wasn't out there either, though, was he?
Damian Lewis is the left guard right beside Ickey. So that hole right between Taylor Moton, that's where they were bringing all the pressures through, and we couldn't even stop a little toddler if we could, and he walked across the line.
Well, I've heard Taylor Moton looks like a problem.
Hey,
I'm just saying, I've heard that he looks more like a problem than anybody else on this offensive line right now.
Hey.
Yeah. But I'll say this, I'll say this about that 150, and I'm gonna let it go. Because
get him, CJ.
No,
get him, CJ.
No,
get him, CJ.
Clay, because the way Doug explains the 150, you would think them guys are getting it all in one year. That 150 is for two guys spread over 3 years.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's not like
it's not going to affect us as bad as people really think. Because if you go look
it's not even really that. It's not. I don't want people to think that we overpay for that position because we have been in the basement as far as the guard position
Right.
for the past couple of years. So it was about time that they invested in the talent. And if
Now,
you have
Tony,
to
did I
pay for
ever say that?
talent,
Now, are you making a statement or are you rebuttaling my comment? Because I've never said that now.
you never said it. I said you make it
Oh,
seem like.
okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I just where the Icky is looking bad, whether it's Taylor looking bad, just remember this: when Tom Brady was in Tampa and also when he was in New England, he always said the best part and the best thing about the offensive line is having the interior of the offensive line solidified. Because we all know the quickest way to the quarterback is up the middle. So, but as long as your interior offensive line is solid, then you have a lot more chances for your quarterback to step up in the pocket to avoid pressure, whether it's step up to pass or step up and escape. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I just want to see how the interior offensive line looks going forward.
All right. All right. Now let's get into I got two questions for you guys, and I'm going to basically give you solos on this one. And I'm gonna put you on the big screen once we get through these questions, and we'll rotate it in the order as you see above. First question is: has Bryce improved this off season? And the second question is: can Dave Canales get Bryce Young to the next level? Doug, we're gonna start with you.
First question, yes. Bryce has looked improved. I almost got pushed down the bleachers because I was so excited what he did against the Jets in joint practice. I can't wait to actually the fans be able to see it if that is this Saturday at 1 p.m. or September 8th at 1 p.m. in the Superdome. Um, you can tell a difference of his footwork. You can tell how choppy the steps are. He's not throwing off that back leg. He's actually going through the motion like basketball, where they say shoot through your motion. Just don't throw it up, like follow through. He's actually following through with his body, what they throw. He's just not chucking it back and just throwing it to see how far it can go. The one thing that I do need to see, though, is like you said, those live game reps when somebody's running to you. One thing we did know Bryce can do is hold the ball a little bit too long. Did I see that when I was able to see him in person? Not really. But what I will say is the touch was there, the precision was there, and the decision making was there. Even though people can say it's controlled, you do see a difference between year one and year two. And you should be, because he knows what NFL defenses look like. He knows what he needs to change, and he knows what he needs to improve on. So the second question would be, can Dave Canales get Bryce to the next level? He's did it this would be his third different quarterback. I'm not going to really count Russ because he wasn't in the, well, I'll say even with Russell. So this will be his fourth quarterback. He has two back-to-back most improved candidates to win that award for most improved. I look at it as the relationship that I like, and I'm gonna put it out there. The Panthers and their players have really been throwing shade at Frank Wright. When you have had to change a offensive scheme, playbook, whatever you want to say, 3 times, not once have you heard Bryce gripe, moan, complain, or you can tell his demeanor is different when he talks about Dave Canales. You don't have to worry about, him looking down. You even heard it where we've been able to talk to beat writers saying Bryce looks different. The feel, like I said, when you come out and you try Sauce Gardner on the second play of 11 on 11, that shows that you got some kahunas. That shows that you want to be the alpha male.
Mm-hmm.
Then whenever you go on 7 on 7, you throw about a 40-yard deep pass against their number 2 corner and DJ Reed.
Mm-hmm.
There is something there. Again, I'm not going to get too hype about it because I drank a lot of the Kool-Aid last year, and when it was out, I was looking for more, and there was nothing to be produced. So
I'll tell you there. My mouth was dry as hell from that crow I ate. So
yeah, like I said, so do I see it? Yes, but again, I'm not going to get too high because I have to see it translating games. Again, I do agree with people on that. I saw it enough in practice. Now I do need to see it translating games. And I do think we will see it week 1. I mean, if they play Saturday, I know there's the word quotation marks hope. I'm not going to take too much into it because, again, it is a preseason game. Should they produce and look good? Absolutely. But, again, when the record means something is on September 8th.
All right, Tony, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Well, I was going to refer that first question to Doug because those guys have been at practice, him and CJ. Definitely CJ can answer that question a lot better. From the clips that I've seen, the reports that I've read, listened to other content creators, what they have talked about and what they have said is that Bryce do look different out there than he did last year. He looks more comfortable, more confident. He looks like he has worked on his footwork, things of that nature. So for me, I want to see him in live action. The reports is I think David Newton put some out 20 minutes ago that pretty much says that Bryce will play Saturday against the Bills. So I'm of the mindset that he will have his starting 5 in front of him. So I want to see what those guys look like, starting to have the opportunity to build that continuity and get that cohesiveness as a unit. Will Dave Canales take him to the next level? I guess that's kind of like a open-ended question because I'm like, what's the next level? He did do wonders with Geno Smith when he had him in Seattle. He did do wonders last year with Baker Mayfield. Both those quarterbacks had the best season of their career under Dave Canales. If you look at their stats from 2022 to 2023, they damn near threw for the same amount of yardage and touchdowns between Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield. And both of them interception rate went down than what it was the year before. So I'm not gonna call him a guru, but I think it's beneficial. I think he can be a benefit to Bryce Young in that quarterback room. So I'm just ready to see it. And I want people to also remember too, Tampa Bay started off slow last year. So I don't think um we're gonna look and see the Panthers just jump out on, guns blazing and things of that nature. I think this is gonna be a slow, methodical thing. I think at least by week 8, after that bye week, hopefully we are in a better position than what Tampa Bay was in last year before the end of their bye week. But I think that second half of the season, I think once the guys have some time in the system, got some things down pat, I think we're going to see um a more a more positive when it comes to the offense. I say that. Yeah, I think we're going to see more positives when it comes to the offense. So yeah, those are my answers, Clay.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Here's my answers to both of those questions. Basically, we got to think about what's changed, right? We redefined this offensive scheme, right? Canales has implemented a scheme that's is designed in this wide zone scheme that he's going to be running to maximize this kid's strength. New playbook's is obviously focusing on quick passes, right? Movement based routes. So that's going to align perfectly, I think, with his skill set. Number one. All right. There's obviously been this meticulous drilling that Canales has been doing with Young on his fundamentals, aiming really to reduce his time in the pocket and really quicken his decision making. Right. You upgrade the weapons. right? You upgrade the offensive line, right? The biggest thing for me right now is the chemistry building. Well, that is one of the key aspects I still need to see because Canales' approach has been developing chemistry between Young and his receivers, right, throughout training camp, plus his offensive line. We've seen Young build a strong rapport with his new targets, right? And Doug has come on my show and told me everything. The thing that I've noticed from clips and hearing from what Doug has given me from the back end from being there, one of the standout improvements has been Young's decision-making speed, reading defenses, right? And I think Canales' guidance has demonstrated him and helped him with those quicker reads and the decisive throws. And I've noticed that in some clips lately with the uptick in the offensive efficiency during some videos I've watched in scrimmages, especially against that one in the Jets that Doug alluded to. But his accuracy has seen a significant boost too, right? The ball's coming out faster. It's a better precision. His improvement with the connection with his wide receivers has been a key factor here. He's able to find and hit his targets great, and it seems reliable at this point. He seems more poised under pressure, but the question though then does remain: Can this coach take him a bit further? Right? Can he become better than in what he was before? Right? They got the play calling tailored to him. Right? They're building that strong relationship. They're focused on the fundamentals. The supportive environment's there. This is a transformative period for Bryce Young. And I think that, and I have to thank largely for that influence because of Dave Canales, right? The improvement in the decision making, the improvement in the accuracy, the improvement of the overall poise is a testament to what Canales is doing in this staff, right? So, even with all that being said, I'm with Doug. I need to see it on the field. I need to see it week 1. I need to see all of that. What we're seeing in these joint practices, what we're seeing in this training camp, I need to see that. Now, not necessarily in the preseason game, even though we're going to probably see them have a couple drives, right? I want to see that too there, but really when it matters the most, that's when I want to see it. I want to see it when September 8th comes around, 1 p.m. against the New Orleans Saints. That's what I want to see.
I feel you.
I honestly think we're all in agreement. Like I said, I think the thing and the problem is you have fans that didn't want Bryce. He didn't produce. Now you bring in the supposedly new quarterback whisperer. You didn't play him. People are saying Patrick Mahomes play. You know, the whole thing, people are saying he threw the behind the back pass. They've been practicing that. I was able to see that. I went back to my highlights and I told Clay I was going to do that. I was able to see them practicing in it when they did red zone. You see a CJ Stroud go for the touchdown drive. Anthony Richardson is practicing. Bo Nix is practicing. Jaden Daniels is practicing. I think our fan base is just in shambles because of how terrible we have been lately. Mm-hmm. And then when we're not able to get what we want, our human nature comes in and we get spoiled and then we pout. That's all it is. Panther Nation is just pouting right now. And
we got spoiled by Cam Newton.
I'm done. Thank you. That's all. Thank you. I don't even say nothing else. Again, any quarterback, and I will say this: if CJ Stroud came in here, and if you thought he was going to be Cam Newton 2.0,
just as much.
Thank you, Clay. Again, Cam Newton, I love him. I mean, I was a Panther fan before Cam Newton, but Cam Newton has did a disservice to any quarterback that comes in and does not bring that energy or is not that type of alpha male that Cam was coming in. And I don't think CJ Stroud could be that. I don't think Anthony Richardson could be that. And I definitely don't think Bryce is that because that's not Bryce's aura. That's not who he is. He's a quiet assassin.
Well, you know what I have to say to those Panthers fans that are like that.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I mean, serious though, man. It's just what I've seen. I really can't wait till other fans can see it through their own lens.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, we come out 1-0. I don't want to hear anything about Bryce. I'm just being serious. If we lose the Nets too, okay, cool. But one thing we couldn't do, and one thing people have to understand, going into New Orleans week 1 is a tough task to do, regardless of what product you have on that field.
I'm gonna be honest, Doug. I'm looking forward to see what this run game looks like week 1. I'm not gonna lie to you because of because even though I think a lot of this pressure is on Bryce, and maybe Dave Canales is being smart about this because he talks about maybe it's taking pressure off of Bryce because he keeps saying, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. It's taking that pressure away from Bryce in a bit because to me, as a fan, how much Canales has talked about running the ball, as much as I do want to see Bryce, because again, we need that. We need to see if he's the franchise guy. I want to see what this run offense is going to look like because that's all Dave Canales has kind of alluded to besides Bryce Young. All he's alluded to Bryce is how we're going to change his footwork, how we're going to help him get the find reads faster, and how he's going to get the ball out quickly out of the pocket.
You have different horses in that stable. I'll say Chuba Hubbard was good, but running back that surprised me enjoying practice was Mike Boone. And that's the reason why I think Dylan Johnson was cut. I know I was very hyped and I was very happy for what he did during the game against the Jets in preseason week number 2. But if you saw what Mike Boone has done throughout, training camp, it looks great. Then you look at Chuba Hubbard whenever he's had opportunity, he's looking pretty good. Miles Sanders may have a fiery comeback season, which I'm really hoping because Miles Sanders, again, that's that Kool-Aid. A name that we know played for a team that was just in the Super Bowl and was not a scheme fit underneath Frank Wright. That's why I said when you have players, they have to translate into your scheme. Just don't go get a high-tech name or a big name and they don't translate to your scheme. You're going to look like the dummy and you're going to fail.
Yep. To Tony's point, talking about Jadavion Sanders, who he thinks could be who is the next tight end number 1. Look at this beautiful toe touch grab in the end zone.
It was nice.
That was nice. Watch, he just gets up there, knows where he's at, puts his feet down. That was nice.
And Thomas could never.
Now look. What's your vendetta against Ian Thomas? The way you say I got one for Scott Fitterer.
He's just not good, in my opinion. My humble opinion. He's not good.
You dropping the mic?
I'm done.
Okay. See.
Bing bong, bing bong, bing.
I like that one, Clay.
Oh man. Well, here is our new acquired corner, Michael Jackson. Thank you, Doug, for sending me this video. Let's check him out real quick. We got a nice little clip here.
He's wrapped up by Michael Jackson. There's not a lot of.
Probably can't play that. So
they said he didn't allow no touchdowns last year.
Yep. I mean, look, this is some of the clips from last year.
It's a fire ass video. Whoever edited this, I like that.
That's Drake London right there.
Lock his slow ass down.
Debo.
Don't do my boy Debo like that now.
Hey, I'm just pointing it out. Justin Herbert.
He looks physical. He looks like he's a physical corner.
So, but what's the word that Dan Morgan likes to use?
Dog.
He doesn't use. There you go.
We need more dogs. No cat.
There you go.
Remember Coach Bennett from Coastal when he came out? Did that?
I told you. Told you I can't stand Coastal because you remember I told you I went to Arkansas State. So when you guys came in, you guys, definitely took over the Sun Belt, and I did not like it because we were the Sun Belt before you guys came in. So yeah,
that's funny, dude. I mean, Coastal, man, that's my alum, man. I gotta give him a shout out. Gotta give him a shout out.
I hear you.
All right, boys. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. Doug, any final words before we wrap this up?
I don't think Dan Morgan's done. Now, I'm gonna
Okay.
say that I don't think he's done. I really think I was ashamed of having the number one waiver wire spot, but I love it now. I love it. I absolutely love it, man. Football is here, man. Like literally, we only have like what a week and a half, or not even a week and a half, like a week. No, literally, we have 2 weeks till football kicks off because you have the Ravens and the reigning back-to-back champs. So I'm just ready, man. I'm ready for the ride. You know, the things that we got with the round table and the Panthers round table, man. Like I said, I can't wait, man. I cannot wait.
Yep. Tony, final words.
Hey, like Doug said, man, football is here. You know, we got this last preseason game to get through. Hey, I'm just excited, man. I'm excited. I'm not drinking all the Kool-Aid like I did last year, but I'm still excited, and I really remain optimistic to see what this team is going to be about this year. I want to see if this Dave Canales positive infectious energy is going to spill over to the team and hopefully the fan base as well by bringing some early wins and get things going.
Yeah. Yeah. Final words for me is, guys, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream today. This year to me is about progress. This is not a year for me to think that we're going to win the division. We're not going to be a playoff team. Like, I just want to see stability and progress. I want this team to be respectable once again in the NFL. And that's all I'm looking forward to. So, you know, there's people out there that believe this team is going to go to the playoffs. I think I've seen some crazy ones that think we're going to win the Super Bowl. But, you know, I would love to know what they're on. But anyways, you know, but I appreciate these two guys coming on here, showing some love, showing support to the Ropp Star Report, of course, coming in and chopping it up with me, which they are more than welcome anytime to come through. We got two fans in the stands. We got Tony from there. Unfortunately, CJ is driving his truck. He said he has his headset on, so he's working. So I hear you. I hear you. But too bad he couldn't join it. He's more than welcome on too. But here's two fans in the stands. I put their links in the chat. Also, Doug's is right here as well. So go check them out. Go make sure you go like, subscribe, show them some support. And of course, again, remember, What's Up Doug's part of the Roundtable Sports panel with the NFC South. So it's been fun so far. But other than that, guys, we're out of here. Everybody, love you. Be safe as always. Y'all know what to do. Keep pounding, and we out.
Yep.